There's an article still making waves, even at this moment right now. Sitting here finishing up this project, putting the finishing touches on the very YouTube video that you're watching. I'm really glad that Garrett Podell took the time to put this together. It's thoughtful, it's deep, it's powerful, and it's really important in a lot of ways, okay? So I would strongly encourage everybody, obviously, to go and read that in its entirety. The meat and potatoes of it was, there's so much to take away from it. It was too much for me to get into for this particular project. We'll continue unpacking it probably as we move forward, but for the sake of today, we're focusing on one particular player, that's Tyler Guyton, and one particular coach, Big Duke Manyweather, who cleared the air on something that he said that had Cowboys Nation jumping to conclusions. I love this not because it proved correct our hypothesis when the rest of the world was, in a frenzy, just speculation about Tyler Guyton's future, but because of what it suggests. It's just further verification that a lot of what we've been seeing, writing about on cowboyscountry.com and talking about here, the buy-in is real. All right, so I'm going to shut up now. I will say it's not completely necessary, but for the best viewing and listening experience, headphones, strongly recommended. Thumbs up to help us continue growing here. We're trying to get to 5K before training camp. That's just a couple weeks away. I will be there in attendance. So let me know if you're going to be there. And if you see me on site there in Oxnard, California, make sure you come over, say what's up, let's get a picture. It's what it's all about. It's about community, meeting like-minded individuals and just enjoying the process, learning from each other. But ultimately, the Lando Show, the sports below the surface truth for the true fan like you. Let's go.
Betting against Tyler Guyton after just one season, I'm saying us as a collective, okay? Knowing what we know about his career journey is, and will continue to be foolish. But with Tyler Guyton's case, he had infinitely more obstacles stacked against him, right? His learning curve was always going to be greater than that of the average prospect making his transition into the league. It hasn't even been 6 years since this kid was a full-time basketball player. It hasn't even been 3.5 years since this kid was a full-time offensive lineman. He was playing some tight end, some O-line, some defensive tackle. And then it hasn't even been 1 full year since he's been playing left tackle, full-time. That, all on top of the coaching staff responsible for bringing him along in year one, when all these things were already stacked against him, just from an experience standpoint. Uber athletic, all the traits, with the one that we can't measure, right? The mental side. But we're going to touch on that in a second too. A coaching staff on an expiring contract, fighting for their coaching lives, with no time, patience, or even want to hold the hand and bring along and babysit a guy like Tyler Guyton. The offensive line guru himself, Duke Manyweather, Big Duke, seemed to indicate or hint at a few weeks ago about Tyler Guyton's willingness or want to become a better player. His work ethic, how much does he want it? How much does he love it? As we know, a huge pillar for what the Schottenheimer regime is focusing on. It's fair to question or to speculate anything that Duke says. And what he says should carry a ton of weight. But there's two sides to every coin, right? We gotta dig a little bit deeper to make sure that we're seeing the bigger picture here. Maybe, just maybe, the Tyler Guyton that Big Duke knew as a rookie, who has already admitted he didn't know how to be a pro, wasn't a pro yet. And maybe that rubbed Duke wrong. A guy that just simply didn't understand what it takes because he hadn't done it long enough. He's new to this. Maybe Duke's perspective didn't resonate well. Maybe they got off on the wrong foot. And maybe, just maybe, an offensive staff now that features not one, but two offensive masterminds in their own right, Clayton Adams and Connor Riley, A change of scenery can be good for players. Why can't a change of perspective, a different voice, be good for players too?
The line room building over here, and I think that,
It's a different level of focus this year.
You were a college right tackle and you played left tackle, switched sides of the line. How much did that kind of impact your season, and how much more comfort do you have at that spot now?
I'm not going to make any excuses. I just didn't play as good as I needed to last year, and I'm coming with a different attitude this year to become a better player.
Somebody said the pink headphones, the aviators, and the Cowboys hat was cowboy hat. Was a ridiculous look. And maybe that person was right. Maybe it is ridiculous. But maybe that's also the point. All right, before we talk about the actual the true substance within Cowboys world today, let's just have a real conversation for a second. Something that's kind of been weighing on me for a while now that kind of ties into this. And just to be clear, I'm not mad at this person whatsoever for saying what they said, because I know that they ultimately don't know me. If they're judging without ever having met me or anything of that tune, then it has no bearing on my day to day, right? On who I truly am. So the three pieces, the things that I wanted to make clear to him or to that person was, number one, these are my wife's headphones, right? But I also am a girl dad of two, so I routinely wear pink, which is, once again, this was purposeful today, just to prove a point, because pink reminds me of them. And my golf buddies will know, or will tell you, that I often prefer to hit a pink golf ball just because it makes me smile when I stand over the ball. It's like thinking about my kids, man. I ain't got nothing to worry about on the golf course. I ain't got time to stress over a shot. I ain't got time to stress over the opinions of somebody who's never met me. It costs nothing. It's totally free to show love to other people. And that's what, like, that alone truly is what everybody could use a little bit more of. And this does distort my, hopefully having those headphones in didn't completely screw up my audio. But needless to say, if it did, it is what it is. We'll roll with the punches. Oftentimes, man, this is a tough conversation, but it's one that I think I'm not scared of having. It's just there's a slippery slope to a degree. I'm trying to be better, trying to live a more purpose-driven life, and work on my flaws as a man, And so too often, so this is why it's kind of a tough conversation, is because I fall into the trap of, okay, I've got to be perfect before I can start expressing the importance of walking the way that Jesus once did, because I certainly don't now. I'm trying to be better about it, obviously. I am hyper aware of my own flaws as a human being. And I also, I fall victim to doing the same thing that this person did to me, like just jumping to conclusions. That's the title of this thumbnail. It's the purpose of this video here. But, it was just kind of laid on my heart to say something about this. And so where I'm going is sort of the stigma against Christianity is interesting, because I think too often we associate Christians or believers with perfection, when in fact that couldn't be further from the truth, right? There's only one perfect man to ever walk the faces of this earth, my personal opinion. And churchgoers Christians, believers are simply just they're not perfect people trying to prove to other people that they're perfect. To me, or at least my experience in my adult life as a churchgoer, as a Christian, as a believer, is it's a bunch of imperfect people who know how imperfect they are, that are seeking to be better, that have heard stories of powerful testimony, have witnessed themselves powerful testimony, or are seeking to possess a powerful testimony of their own, to embody it, to live through it, because they've tried everything else, everything from this earth that has not sustained them. And so it's like they have nowhere else to turn, so they turn to Jesus, and then amazing things happen. What I'm getting at, pink headphones, my wife's, but I wear pink because it reminds me of my children. So don't judge me for wearing pink. Aviator glasses, $6 sunglasses, because I'm too cheap, too broke, and like I mentioned, oftentimes too careless to spend big money on a nice pair of sunglasses. And number 3, the hat itself serves to me as I get older and mature and have children and, different priorities in life, serves as a reminder to who I am truly at my core. It also, at that point, and that video specifically, served as shade from the brutal summer sun here in middle of, I guess, now July in Texas. And number 3, that cowboy hat there also served to me for me as the catalyst for the first official exclusive partnership deal with the Lando Show. Yes, Waggle is also the official partner of the Lando Show, but that was a derivative of my other business endeavors in the golf world. That's how that came about. Hosel and Hack LLC brought that about. Duke Manyweather spilling the beans, confirming some of what we speculated or hypothesized back in February or March, and then all the way up until recent months, like within the last few weeks. CowboysCountry.com and here on YouTube, and also every other platform, social media platform. Right? Once again, it's why I wear pink, loud and proud. Tuck my shirt in, loud and proud. I wear a cowboy hat if I want to, loud and proud. I don't fear the judgment of others, but when I do, honestly, I step out confidently because it catches people's attention, and that's how conversations happen. That's how you impact people. That's how you connect. That's how you network. So when you look a little bit different, I don't want to blend in, because then I may miss out on an opportunity to speak with somebody who could change my life, or maybe I could change theirs. So it's all about impacting people. And by the way, I'm Lando from the Lando Show. This platform is all about the sports below the surface truth for the true fan. And what we're going to do today is discuss the article written by Garrett Podell. If I can mute my computer here. I have shared it, or if I didn't, I'll go ahead and make sure that I do. To my timeline on Twitter, I'll go ahead and retweet it right now, so you know exactly where to go, at the Lando Show or at Garrett Podell, GarrettPodell. Okay. Duke Manyweather confirming or clearing the air on some of what he said that caused a lot of Cowboys Nation to just stir up into a frenzy at the time when he said it. Maybe, just maybe, the version of Tyler Guyton, the rookie, right, that Duke Manyweather knew at the time, just simply didn't know how to be a pro yet. Right? And I offered further context alongside Vosh Lombardi, who was so gracious enough to join forces with me on a project that I was pretty excited and proud to bring to light. The value, the outdated value, that is, of the offensive tackle position, but also too at the introductory portion of that video was sort of getting to the bottom of this, and it was there's the other project that I attempted to do the same thing. It's called, you'll see it right here. Let's go ahead and look at it. Clearing the air on Tyler Guyton and Dak Prescott. Okay. So let's just start right here. Where did you design your new diet from?
I'm just asking questions to our nutritionist, watching videos, learning on my own.
What was the tough?
Watching videos, learning on my own, and asking questions. Guys, this is telltale classic example of becoming a pro. Hopefully you guys understand that well enough. I don't need to go too much deeper into it, but just understand, okay? Especially for a kid like Tyler Guyton, it takes time to truly become a pro, and that's all encompassing, every aspect, not just technique, strength, and hand placement, and all that stuff. Athleticism, whatever. It's everything that also goes into it off the field too. Here's let's make sure everybody is also on the same page with exactly what Duke Manyweather said. What was the cryptic tweet? Just a quick refresher. A fan asked Big Duke Manyweather, the offensive line mastermind, where do you feel Tyler Guyton falls this year on a quality starter left tackle scale? This is April 19th. Duke's response: honestly, don't know. He's got a lot to figure out to take the leap. That's up to him. And y'all saw the articles, the YouTube videos, the content, the short form content, right? Cowboys Nation, Cowboys Twitter, Cowboys Internet went ablaze. Oh my God, Duke Manyweather says Tyler Guyton just ain't built for it. Ain't cut out for it. Can't get the job done. Doesn't love football enough. We're screwed. Okay, not only is left tackle a significant improvement there at that position, not completely necessary for the Cowboys to be significantly improved, not just offensively, but team-wide as a collective. But Duke didn't even mean what everybody jumped to the conclusions thinking that he was saying. And he confirmed it. So what exactly did Big Duke say to clear the air? Okay, this audio from the G-Bag Nation, 105 through the Fan, is going to give you a pretty good example of that. Their direct discussion with the author of the article that we're referring to here, Garrett Podell. Here we go.
To the offensive line that he's currently working with now, I think it's awesome. He's working with all five.
Just for the record, for anyone who's still unaware, who is Duke Manyweather? Essentially, in layman's terms, runs the offensive line masterminds program. Okay, he's trusted and widely regarded as one of the best offensive line trainers in the world, and he is the officially unofficial offensive line coach or mastermind of the Dallas Cowboys, when the Dallas Cowboys offensive line coaches, Connor Riley and Clayton Adams, now are legally not allowed by the NFL CBA to get their hands on these players, for lack of a better term, to help train them, right? To get them prepared for camp and for the season, okay? Duke works hand in hand with the Cowboys and other countless other legends, Hall of Famers, Zach Martin included, Lane Johnson, right? I'm talking all across the league. But he's the guy. Okay, here we go.
Article illustrated, specifically Tyler Guyton. I think that's a question all of us have right now going into year two. What were you able to gain about that? Because it sounded like prior to the draft, I know at least the Twitter world thought maybe there was some beef between Duke and Guyton and they had stopped working together.
Yeah, I brought that up with Duke, and he thought that was really funny because Duke himself, he did tweet, it's all up to Tyler Guyton to see how he's going to be. And so a lot of people took that as, Duke saying Tyler doesn't have what it takes. But
great minds, by the way, Garrett.
that is kind of meaning Guyton is approaching it with the kind of mindset and aggressive determination that he needs to kind of take the next step up, because Duke kind of described to me there's a few levels of guys in their development that he's worked with. There's the obsessives who eat, sleep, breathe about it. They're texting him, hey, give me a film clip. Let's work on this, that, the other. There's the people who just do what you tell them to do, and then there's the bare minimum guys. So he kind of challenged Tyler Guyton to say, which one of those are you going to be? And, Zach, I know you were out at Cowboys minicamp OTAs, and when we spoke to Tyler about his diet and kind of cleaning up some of the things he's working on, that Guyton, at least for now, it seems like he's trending toward being on the obsessive side with it. And when I spoke one-on-one with Guyton at his locker at the end of mandatory minicamp, I said, so what are you doing with Duke? And he said, really, it's my posture, the stance, start and finish, kind of bowing his back and make sure he has more balance. Because a lot of the issues, he had 14 penalties last year, which is tied for the second most in the NFL. A lot of that he kind of attributed to not being comfortable and feeling like he just wasn't balanced and out of position. But he feels like the work he's
Feeling like you're not comfortable, almost as if, you haven't really been doing this for very long, if at all, almost as if you just switched from right tackle to left tackle and are expected to make the jump and replace a Hall of Fame level player, Tyron Smith. All the things that we've discussed, guys. Verification here. Okay, so don't just take it from me. Take it from Garrett. Take it from Duke. Take it from Tyler. This is context.
With Duke in the summer is really helping him improve that. And Duke himself reiterated that to me, saying he's being able to maintain his posture underneath kind of the load that he carries at 6'7", 322 on that side. That's really kind of what they've been focusing on.
So is
all that stuff and more, once again, inside that article, the meat and potatoes of Garrett Podell of CBS Sports. Brilliant work.
Tyler Guyton. It was always foolish to expect him to be what we wanted him to be in year one. Given that just 5 years ago, not 5 years ago, roughly, wasn't even a full-time football player. Not 3 years ago was he even a full-time offensive lineman, and just last year was he a full-time left tackle. There's only a certain amount of time that they get to work with these guys before training camp happens, and that's minicamp and OTAs. That's about it. In between those, though, it's all Big Duke, helping refine the technical nuances, develop the strength, and shorten the learning curve, making Connor Riley and Clayton Adams easier when training camp comes around, because there's development that's happening around the clock, and everybody's bought in. It's not just Tyler Guyton. It's not just Tyler Smith. It's not just Cooper Beebe, Terrence Steele, Brock Hoffman, TJ Beck, go down the line. Awesome Richards, Nate Thomas. It's everybody. But what I don't want to do is also, I don't want to be too reactive on the opposite end of the spectrum and too positive. This doesn't mean anything. The work still has to be proven on Sundays, right? And here's the thing that I'm seeing a lot of people forget. Big Duke had meetings and took pictures with Mike Solari last offseason. And also, you'll also see some pretty telling truths. Once again, confirming some of the other hypotheses. I believe that's correct. Things that I hypothesized about regarding Tyler Guyton's development, not necessarily dealt a fair shake. It's in this article here. Right? Very top. This is May 22nd, so a little over a month ago. 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen retired from the Cowboys this offseason. 1 left tackle, 1 right guard. And with that, the question everyone should be asking, who's going to mentor Tyler Guyton? Well, who was going to mentor him last year? Zach Martin? Sure. But Zach Martin had injuries, conversations with himself about retirement heading into last season, those types of things. But Tyler Guyton's rookie season, point being, a head coach on an expiring, or a head coach and staff on an expiring contract with no time, energy, patience, or honestly ability to hold the hand of a developmental project. Mike Solari didn't have time to try to help bring Tyler Guyton along. Okay, and also clearly he didn't have time to to teach, as you know. I'm just saying what the article is indicating here. Just kind of elected not to do the job, like failed to meet the minimum requirements of the job description of teaching Cooper Beebe about hand placement as a center. He's never played the position before prior to last year. You know, so I hope this stuff is just sort of eye-opening, and everything that we've discussed. I hope it just sort of serves as a good friendly reminder. Just maybe let's just collectively try to be better about not jumping to conclusions, judging situations that we're not overly familiar with, or judging people that we've never met. I think that could go a long ways, though, just in general. But you know, I'm just a small YouTuber, a guy with a microphone and a camera. Shout out to Voch Lombardi, and just gonna keep plugging away, man. The ultimate dead period here of the NFL calendar. I will officially be in Oxnard, California, I believe, from 27th through the 31st. First time getting down there, but it was time to take that next step. So I'm excited to have that opportunity, just to see it first and foremost, up close and personal. Meet some of my peers, colleagues, or otherwise people who I've learned from and looked up to so many times in the recent, past 2 to 3 to 4 years, as I've just been sort of climbing this mountain here. But my work here today is done. I got to get out of here. I got to go pick up my daughters from school. Then I have other places to be. But my work isn't officially complete if you also don't play your role and do your part. Complete your work too, which is, like I said, like the video for me, assuming that you're already subscribed, right? Thank you to the official partner of the Lando Show, which is Waggle. GetYourWaggleOn.com, code HOSL10. And thank you to Justin Boots. We'll have a code for you guys here shortly. So just sort of in the beginning stages with our relationship together, finalizing a few things behind the scenes. And remember, with that, prayer changes things, and the war is already won. Talk to you guys soon.